Welcome. Today is January 13th, 2024, and we are welcoming in the Trecena of Ajpu according to the Mayan Cholq'Ij count of time. In this video, I'll be talking about the significance of this Trecena or 13-day period, the 13 energies or chumilab or Nahuales that we'll be working with in the Mayan tradition, and as well threading in the Western tropical astrological perspective and weather of the next 13 days. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Samantha and I run Hands of Mercury. I've devoted over the last decade my time to studying different forms of divination as well as healing modalities with a deep study into traditional and modern astrology, specifically Hellenistic astrology. And as well, in the past few years, I have spent time in Lake Atitlan, Guatemala, studying with Mayan teachers, learning Mayan cosmology, and as well taking an apprenticeship under a teacher of human design. So there's a lot of different things cooking here at Hands of Mercury, and I hope that you'll stick around and join me as we go on a journey to uncover more cosmic wisdom for our personal and collective healing and transformation. When speaking on the celestial bodies and on the Chumilab, I think it's important to come with honor and respect. And I will be sharing a prayer of invocation for inviting these spirits in so that I may be a messenger of these energies in the appropriate way. And as well, I want to extend a deep gratitude to my teachers and the elders who have passed on these traditions. So, from the Western astrological perspective, being able to learn and study through the work of Chris Brennan, Austin Coppock, Demetra George, Liz Green, Chani Nicholas, and many, many other astrologers, as well with my Mayan teachers and the wisdom keepers, Tata Izaias, Nana Izabel, Tata Walter, Tata Mark, and the many beautiful Mayan people that I've been able to encounter at Lake Atitlan of the Cacao and the Sutujil Maya. So thank you, Matios, gracias. It's an honor to do this work, and it's an honor to be a channel and a messenger. So with that, if you will join me in a prayer, closing your eyes, taking a nice deep breath in, settling into this present moment as we call in our sacred guardians that we're working with. Calling upon our beautiful sun, Ajpu, as we start in this new Trecena, we call upon you and your divinity and your light, your life-giving force to be present with us today. Our grandmother moon, the cycles of the woman and the feminine and the magic. Thank you for being with us. To our sacred messenger, our mercurial force, Mercury, our guide and guardian at crossroads and in our transportation of our lives. Our sacred lover, Venus, thank you for uniting us through harmony and art. To our sacred warrior, Mars, who separates and ignites us with assertiveness and impulsiveness to get things going, to drive things forward. Beautiful Mother Earth, Gaia, Madre Tierra, Pachamama, thank you for holding us. Thank you for allowing us to live our lessons and our lives out upon your fertile earth and for all that you give us. To Jupiter, our benevolent guide, our guardian, the one who bestows blessings and faith and optimism. To Saturn, our boundary maker, our timekeeper, our Lord of Karma, thank you for what you teach, though sometimes it is through loss, it is through restriction that we can find our deepest wellspring of creativity and inspiration. To Uranus, the great liberator, the Promethean fire. To Neptune, the sacred dreamer, the imaginer, the fantasy world builder. And to Pluto, the Lord of Death, the underworld, rebirth, transformation, chaos that precedes order, order that needs to be broken down by chaos. Thank you to these celestial bodies as well as the asteroids that we work with, and calling in the 13 energies that we'll be working with through this Trecena. Hun Ajpu, Kae Imosh, Oshi Ik, Kahe Akabal, Okat, Wakikan, Ukukeme, Washakike, Delehe Kanil, Lahuhto, Hulahuh Zit, Kablahuh Bats, Oshlahu E. Thank you. Beautiful Chumilab. Thank you, Noales. Thank you to the animal guardians. Thank you to these aspects of Great Spirit that we'll be working with and moving under your wisdom. Thank you for joining me in this prayer and invocation. A quick rundown of the Mayan Cholq'Ij count of time. We are specifically working with one of the many Mayan calendars or ways of counting time that is an ancestral observation. This is specifically a spiritual and ceremonial calendar. So it's a 260-day calendar, which equals out to 9 months. The Trecena, every 13-day period, is seen as a subconscious force. So a lunar force that is kind of permeating underneath the surface. So Ajpu will be that subconscious force moving through the collective. And then each day that we move through a cycle of a number and a specific Nawal or Chumil will be the kind of solar energy or conscious force that's moving through the day. So on tomorrow, January 14th, we will have two Imosh, and that will be the more present guiding force above, and we'll still have the energy of Ajpu holding us under. Each Noel has a different significance, correspondence, animal, or other type of natural world guide it is working with. And that Noel takes on a different charge, a different frequency when we're pairing it with one of the 13 numbers. So each number in the sequence of 1 through 13 is a different galactic tone that gives us a different essence to be working with. So someone born under 2 Emosh is going to feel very different than someone born under 8 Emosh. Ajpu is our sun. It is the masculine solar life force in our sky, and that representation of the Great Spirit, or Gran Ahal. The Nawal for Ajpu is also considered to be the seashell. So Ajpu is important when it comes to the Mayan tradition because Hun Ajpu is one of the hero twins in the stories of the Popol Vuh. The Popol Vuh is a foundational text for the Maya because it survived through the times of colonization when many of the sacred texts were destroyed and burned, unfortunately. So in this story, Hun Ajpu and his twin Ishbalamke end up defeating the rulers of Xibalba, or the underworld, which is Hunkame and Wukukame, signified by the energy of the owl. And in this story, the core of what we see with Ajpu is that overcoming of darkness by light. So my teacher always shares that people who are born under Ajpu have that energy of the warrior, the spiritual warrior, the solar warrior. Yet they are meant to go through trials and tribulations in life. So they are tested in their strength. And there's only one way to really know how strong you are, and that is through that challenge and that test and that fear that you can be overcome by darkness, by the trials of your life. So those that are born under Ajpu have to learn to dig deep into themselves and find their fortitude and find their strength through moments of challenge, of sickness, of darkness. As well with Ajpu, this is an energy of the hunter. So the one who is able to go out into the woods and track the animals and has that sensitivity to finding out where the next meal is going to be, right? And so this is an energy where we want to fine tune our senses. And many of us in the modern day and age have lost this sensitivity with nature, right? Have lost this sensitivity to know when it's going to rain, to know from the vibrations of the ground if something is coming, another people or animals, a herd of animals are coming our way. That sensitivity to know when the weather is changing. So these are all things that we can cultivate and call in for ourselves and reflect on during this time of Ajpu. As well, when we think of Ajpu, we think of the defender and the protector. So this is an energy that is here to guard what is sacred, what is soft, and in many ways, what is feminine. The Trecena of Ajpu is an opportune time to be in prayer and make offerings so that the light may overcome the darkness, so that we may find strength and fortitude to continue to persevere for the times ahead, for the challenges ahead. Many of us have come here to be warriors at this time of great change and tumultuousness upon our earth. And we're definitely having a changing of the guards as Pluto shifts into Aquarius, which I will speak upon. So, at this time of Ajpu, and especially in the Northern Hemisphere, where many of us are deep in winter, it's a time to connect with the sun in whatever way we can, maybe going outside during midday and catching some sun on your face. And as well, working with our inner solar light, that inner warm, glowing light within our hearts, and sitting in meditation and sending that solar energy, that solar light within us outwards to extend to our loved ones, our community, and to the world. Under the Trecena of Ajpu, I also feel called to put out an invitation for reflection, for prayer, and for making change around the relationship between the animals we eat and ourselves. So, again, thinking back to hunting and the prey, predator and prey, and the sacred relationship there is between a hunter and an animal that it's hunting. There's a beautiful story about this in the book Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, and the hunter having a relationship with the deer. And there's a moment, there's a connection between the deer and this hunter. They look each other in the eye, and it knows in that moment that reciprocal relationship is taking place, this contract of I feed you and you will ultimately feed me one day. And we've lost that in some ways in the modern day and age, especially, this is a whole nother topic, but the way that we do burials and chemicals and mausoleums and all sorts of things where we're not letting our bodies decompose in the earth and give back to the natural ecosystem, but as well with factory farming and the way that we may be procuring meat and dairy. This might be an opportune time to really take a hard look, an honest look and reflection on your relationship there and the animals that you are in relationship with, because there is an energetic exchange that is happening. So I know that for myself, I am feeling called to take a little bit more stock in that space and what I'm consuming, and honoring the exchange of energy and the lives that have gone into being able to feed and support and nourish me. So now we're going to dive into a day by day look at the energies ahead. And this is where we'll look at the Mayan Cholq'Ij count and weaving in what's going on astrologically. So for an overview, we are finishing out Capricorn season, and this Trecena will be bridging us into Aquarius season. Now, Capricorn and Aquarius are both Saturn ruled signs. So this is a time of year where we're taking stock, we're getting a reality check, we're reflecting on what's been working and what's not with a very sobering lens. This is not a time for escapism, for idealism. It's really a time to be rooted in the ground. And we're looking at what we've harvested, what we've reaped from what we've sown. So in olden days, Saturn is originally an agricultural god. And in many ways, you were at the whims and the fate of how the crops did that year. So if the harvest was abundant and plentiful, things were going well. But if you had a bad crop year, late winter is not looking good for the village, for the people, for the community. So this is a time to get grounded, to be in a sense of solitude. This is a time to get still, to get quiet, to maybe withdraw yourself from a lot of the social buzz and sit with the energy of winter if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. I think so many of us push off that energy of winter when there's so many alchemical processes that are taking place, not only within us, but within nature during winter to prepare for spring. So today on Ajpu, we have Mercury entering the sign of Capricorn. So Mercury is still in that post shadow. It is traversing for the third time this area of Capricorn because we had a retrograde last month in December. So Mercury is going to start to meet up with Mars towards the end of this month. Now, Mercury in Capricorn, again, is going to help us with our thought process, with our intellectual process to be grounded in reality and take steps forward that are calculated, that are pragmatic, that are practical. Tomorrow is going to be January 14th. We're working with Kai Tu Imosh. And this is an energy of honoring our emotions, our feelings, our internal waters, and the waters of our relationships, our close people. So, two is that energy of not only choice, but partnership. So, this is the energy of the crocodile, the dolphin, the whale. It's a great day to connect with water in any essence that you can, whether that's through a ritual bath, whether that's connecting with a body of water outside, and taking a moment to bless the waters around you, bless the water that you get to drink every day. January 15th, we welcome in the energy of Oshi-Ik, 3-Ik. It's an energetic day of action, of moving things forward. And Ik is the hummingbird. It's the vision of the future. It's the crystalline purity that comes from this breath of new innocence, new life, that's coming forward, right? It's what's coming with the descendants that will come after us. So it's a great day to vision ahead. The moon will be in Pisces as well, and sitting with what you want to call in at this time. As well, the sun will be in a supportive aspect to Neptune, our planet of dreams and rosiness and imagination and empathy. So everything is very supportive of that day for bringing in a dreaminess and a softness to some of the grounded energy we have in Capricorn season. I really like that day. January 16th, we welcome in Kahe Akabal for Akabal. This is a day of stability, of structure, and of honoring duality and polarities. So Akabal is the energy of the sunrise, the sunset, and the bat. And so this is a day as well to check in with loved ones, those around you, and as well check in with that internal sense of light and dark. I think this energy works well under the Trecena of Ajpu, that reminder of light and dark. Now, sometimes Akabal can be a challenging day because it reminds us, hey, of this darkness, of this challenge, of maybe some of our fear, our doubt, our shame that's brewing around us. January 17th, we welcome in the energy of Ho'okat. This is 5-Kat. It's a day of empowerment and of the spider. So empowering our network, our web, our connection, our interdependence to both humans and animals and the structures around us. So this is a day when we can give offerings and prayers for the strengthening of really healthy ties that we're working with, and to pray to the spider to disentangle us from any kind of drama or stagnant energies and connections that are not going well or need to be stepped aside from, maybe are in an ebb at this time. January 18th, we welcome Quaicain, 6 Khan. This is a intense day. 6 is the energy of darkness. Khan is our sacred feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, Cucumatz, Cuculcan. And so the serpent energy is about our sexuality, our sacred life force, our spine. And it's also an energy of charm and manipulation, right? The serpent is a giver of wisdom, but also has a dark side to it, right? So this is a day where some of that challenging energy can come up. We'll be working under an Aries moon on that day as well. So there's a lot of fiery energy afoot. Mars is still working its way through Capricorn, which is really nice, actually. We love a Mars and Capricorn transit, as that's Mars in its exaltation. So really getting in touch with your sacral energy, your life force energy, your desires on this day, and honoring those deep, dark desires that are coming up as well. This is a great day to kind of dive into some of your inner psychology. As well, we'll have Mercury in a sextile with Saturn on that day. So Mercury is in a supportive aspect with our planet of diligence and discipline and reality. And so Mercury is able to find this sense of support and structure on this day, where it's in Saturn sign in Capricorn and getting a helpful message or hint from Saturn around this time. January 19th, we welcome in the energy of Wuku Keme, 7 Keme. Now, this is the energy of awakening to Keme, the owl, the underworld, death, rebirth, and the ancestors. So, this is a great day to give thanks, honoring, and prayer for the ancestors and for passed on loved ones and those in the spirit realm. As well, on this day, astrologically, we have Venus in a square to Neptune. So, in modern astrology, Neptune is seen as a higher octave to Venus. They're both bringing this energy of harmony and connection and uniting people and love, transcendence. And so with Venus square Neptune, there is an energy to be confused, but it is quite rosy and idealistic and enmeshing and romantic on this day. So there's definitely a connection to one's spirit and the spirit of someone else, looking into someone else's soul and seeing past their flaws per se on this day. As well, this is a great day for artists and those that want to tap into their artistry and their imagination. Now we're getting to an important day, January 20th, Owashaki Ke, 8 Ke. This is a day of discipline and justice in connection with Ke, which we just came out of the Trecena of Ke. And Ke is the deer, it is the four directions, it is a guardian of the forest, it is a guide for us, for humanity, and it is that stability that its four legs, it's kind of its four pillars bring to us. We can also think about Ke as one of those sacred animals that humans are in relationship with for sustenance, for its meat, for its skin, for its nourishment. Again, going back to Breeding Sweetgrass, the book, that was the connection that the hunter had with the deer. And knowing that each time he went in the forest, he wanted to make sure he felt that sacred connection with the animal and knowing this is the animal that I am meant to kill today, that I'm meant to gain sustenance from, and that I'm meant to be in sacred connection with today. So, on this day, astrologically, we have a Sun Pluto conjunction at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And this is significant because we will never have in our lifetimes again a Sun Pluto conjunction in the sign of Capricorn. This is it. And they will move together into the sign of Aquarius. And Pluto will be here until September. We'll have one more dip into Capricorn in the fall, and then that's it. Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. And this is really important. Pluto is very much connected to the global collective. It is seen in some ways as our collective shadow. It's the things that we don't want to look at. We'd rather maybe avoid, that are part of our nature as humans. And these are the not so nice parts of our nature, that if we don't take a look at, and if we don't bring to the light and bring to the surface and bring out of a sense of shame, they can really start to mess with us and mess with order, mess with our sovereignty in many ways. So Pluto has a very important role in the planetary order. So January 20th, mark your calendars. It's a significant shift on this day into Aquarius season with that conjunction. If there's anything that comes up at that time, we're really ending an era of Pluto and Capricorn. So for you personally, you can think back to 2008. You've been on a journey of Pluto in the sign of Capricorn in your natal chart of your astrology chart. And so that energy, that Plutonian energy, will be very prevalent that day of bringing up the underworld, which I think with the Mayan Cosmovision, we're having Keme the day before. We're going to start to really feel that kick in. Honestly, the 18th on Khan. I think the 18th will start to really crescendo up until the peak of that conjunction. And Pluto's very slow moving. So that is definitely a day to watch. Moving forward, we're going to have on the 21st, Belehe Kanil, 9 Kanil. This day is about a rebirth and planting a new seed with Kanil, or maybe harvesting from a seed that we have already been planting. So this is a day of returning to innocence, returning to softness. It's a welcome energy after a few days of intensity that I see from the 18th to the 20th. On the 22nd, we're going to honor Lahu To, Tento. So this is a day of manifestation and working with the fire and making payment and offering. So Toch is the Noel is the fire. And this is an energy that reminds us that life is a sacred gift and we need to be in reciprocity with the earth. We have a responsibility to give back, to give thanks, to give to others, to pay it forward. So this is a great day for service, and this is a great day for making payment and offering to the earth and to the many people and the community that nourish you, that sustain you, the nature that sustains you, again, the animals that sustain you. So on Lehuch Toch, we have a Gemini moon that's moving through as well. It's a time where we might be feeling more enhanced in our communication. On January 23rd, we welcome Hulahu Z, 11 Z. So this is a day of resolution and working with authority, both our inner authority, external authority, and a higher power authority, a sacred authority. This is the Noel of the dog. And on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn definitely has some crossover with C because it's about authority. It's about judgment. It's about the rule of law, justice, right? And so when Venus is moving into Capricorn, she is a little less agreeable and is more interested in the facts. So Venus sometimes can be sweet talked and she'll stick around. And in Capricorn, she's like, I don't want the sweet talk. I don't want the flowery words. I want actions. I want proof. I want the return on investment. So as well, this is a time to get really grounded in the reality of where you are financially during this transit, what you value, what motivates you through your values moving forward. What are you working on to sustain yourself materially at this time? And Venus is more pragmatic. She's more practical. She's more about consistency and discipline rather than being lovey-dovey and flowery at this time. So Saturn kind of pulls her back a little bit during this transit. Not to fret, later in the spring, we're going to have Venus in Pisces, and that'll be a really nice transit. On January 24th, we are honoring the energy of Kabbalahu bats, 12 bats. This is the energy of understanding. We're coming towards the end of the cycle of the Trecena and connecting with our inner creative child, our inner artisan, our inner musician, our inner dancer. So this is a really beautiful day to connect with the muses, the Lord of Dance, and to connect in some sort of artistic and creative way, as well as blessing the children, blessing the innocent ones in our communities. And then we end this Trecena with Oshlahu Eh. So January 25th, we are honoring 13 Eh. This is the energy of ascension, of the magic of the wildcat. And the wildcat is the guardian of the Sakbe, the sacred path ahead of us, the path that brings us to our highest soul potential. And what's beautiful about this is we come to the end of the Trecena and we come to the fullness of the moon. We have a Leo full moon happening on this day. And this Leo full moon, Leo is an energy that loves to be a little dramatic, performative, expressive. It's an energy of figuring out something on a deeper level of our self, of who we are, of our core. And so something may be revealed or culminated, especially something that relates back to the seed planted in the summer during Leo season between July 20th and August 20th of 2023. So there's some sort of culminating event that is happening around this Leo full moon. As well, with this Leo full moon and the intensity of being in the energy of 13 of Oshlahu, it's going to be a day, an energetic day. We have that full moon in an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius, as well as in a square with Jupiter. So this is what we call a T square. There is an active sense of tension of Jupiter expanding that emotional side of the full moon, of expanding the energy of death and rebirth, of change and chaos of Pluto. So that is also a day that I would bookmark your calendars. People may be dramatic. People could be really heightened in their emotions, which we already know, even from a scientific point of view, that people are kind of swelled up emotionally around the full moons psychologically. So definitely, if things come up around this full moon, try to take a beat, try to take a moment of reflection. If there's drama that is coming up, maybe taking a few days to just pause, take a moment to yourself, write about it, figure out a way to come into it with healthier communication, because Pluto definitely likes to pop the hood on some of the shadows around that time. So something being revealed on our path ahead, right? Calling in that energy of calling in the medicine of the wildcat of that day and saying, whatever is shown to me on this day, may it be in service to moving me forward that much more on my sacred path, on the path of my highest potential. Overall, I find the sun making that potent conjunction at 29 degrees of Capricorn during this Trecena of Ajpu, of the sun, whose story involves going to the underworld and overcoming and defeating the darkness, right? Coming up, it's very symbolic. So the sun is touching that underworld during this Trecena on the 20th. And so these large symbolic themes of light and dark are coming forward. And what are we learning from them? For many, we can see over the past 6 months that some of the darker aspects of humanity have really been on full display. And again, we are in the death rattle of Pluto moving out of Capricorn. Capricorn being the structures of authority, of austerity, of power, of the government, and Pluto moving into the sign of the future, of technology, of the people, of progress. So we can think to the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, and this was around the time of the American Revolution, the French Revolution. And so change is afoot. And this Trecena of Ajpu is going to be significant, in my opinion. And we all can, if there's one thing you can take away from this time of the Trecena of Ajpu, is to connect back to your inner light, connect back to you who are the lighthouse, that part of you that's the spark of your eternal soul that cannot ever be extinguished. Thank you so much for joining me on this cosmic journey over the next 13 days, and we'll be back for the Trecena of starting on January 26th. Thank you. And if you are looking to dive in deeper with me, I do offer one-on-one consultations for astrology and human design on my page, handsofmercury.com. As well, I can point you to my Mayan teachers if you're looking for a Mayan tree of life reading for yourself. And follow along on Instagram and on my website. I have upcoming classes, webinars, and I also share on IG Live. So I look forward to the next time that we can connect. And thank you again to our celestial bodies and our Noales for allowing me to be a messenger from here to you. I'd love to know what you thought about this video, what's resonating, what's coming up for you as we are in Capricorn season, going into Aquarius season. Let me know in the comments.